Hi, this is Dr. Rob Rozbruch from the Hospital for Special Surgery, and I wanted to talk to you about osseointegration limb replacement surgery. This is a talk that I just recently gave at Project CARE, which is a Wounded Warrior conference in San Diego, California. All patients with identity shown have given consent. The problems with socket wear include skin ulcers, perspiration, the need for frequent refitting. There's often poor fit from a residuum size fluctuation. There is a 7% fracture, and patients report a lack of confidence with mobility. There's poor fit between the thigh and the socket in many cases. You can see a malalignment between the bone and the prosthesis, which really compromises energy transfer. After osseointegration surgery, you can see there is excellent alignment between the femur, the implant, and now the prosthesis is directly connected to the skeleton. The advantages of osseointegration include the absence of a socket with its inherent problems, including pressure sores, poor fit, and pinching of skin. There is improved control of the prosthetic leg, there is improved proprioception, and it is especially helpful for patients with a short and wide residual leg. This is my first patient, David G., who at 40 had had 20 surgeries for a 20-centimeter bone defect. With osteomyelitis, he was on chronic pain management. After evaluation, decision was made that he was not a good candidate for limb salvage and that it would be better served with an above-knee amputation. We used a osseointegration implant, and this is what it looks like after connection of the prosthesis to the skeleton. At 2-year follow-up, David is doing well. You can see that he has had full osseointegration of the bone into the implant. This is the level of the skin. The nuts and bolts of this include an implant and a dual post that connects the implant to the prosthetic leg. I have developed professional collaboration and relationships with Dr. Munjid Al-Madaris and Dr. Kevin Tetzworth from Australia. I'm currently using the OPL implant, which is custom made. We have assembled a team at HSS, including prosthetic and orthotic professionals, physical therapists. The importance of a team cannot be underestimated. Randy's showing the improved energy transfer between his leg and the prosthesis. Here's Jesse at the age of 37 who was having difficulty with socket wear. In planning, we look at front and side view x-rays for measurements. We do a CT scan that allows us to create a custom-made implant. You ready?
Yeah.
In surgery, this is the press-fit custom-made implant that is porous coated. It's titanium.
Oh, it's going great.
A direct skeletal connection is obtained, and you can see that there is immediate postoperative stability.
I'd slow down right there.
This is after the muscles of the thigh are purse-stringed around the edge of the bone implant interface. After the skin is closed with the dual post and the abutment connected. And here you can see the connector. This is how we tighten the abutment without placing rotational stress through the implant. Jesse had good quality bone, and we decided to do a fast load. We gradually increased the loading on the connector over 3 weeks and attached the leg at 3 weeks. This is the level of the skin. Here you can see Jesse taking his first steps at 3 weeks after the prosthetic leg is connected. He will use crutches for about 6 weeks. This is a visit in the clinic showing the long x-ray with the direct skeletal connection. It shows the appearance of the stoma, which is very healthy appearing. Patients at this point are washing daily in a shower with soap and water. Before and after x-rays showing the socket and the direct skeletal connection. 4.5 months after the surgery, there is excellent stability of the implant with osseointegration of the bone into the titanium implant. Jesse is demonstrating how easy it is to remove and reapply the prosthetic leg to the abutment. All that is needed is a Allen key. Quick connects are also available. At 4.5 months, he's walking out of the office with his wife. He has posted this on social media. He's a very fit guy, and you can see how he's able to resume his active lifestyle with the prosthetic leg directly connected to the skeleton. You can see here how with a direct skeletal connection between the prosthetic leg and the bone, he's able to really transfer energy optimally. At a year, he's swimming in the ocean with his waterproof leg and resuming his active lifestyle. Another patient, Jesse, age of 33, has a short transtibial amputation and difficulty with socket wear. Custom-made implant is created from the CT scan. After surgery, he does a gradual loading program for several weeks. At 10 weeks, we connected the leg. These are his first steps. This is a before and after with the socket and with the direct skeletal connection. And here you can see a close-up view of the stoma and Jesse at about 3 months. He is demonstrating here how simple it is to remove and reapply the prosthetic leg, again just with a hex key.
That's easy. Voila. That's it.
Walking at 3 months without crutches and doing quite well. Demonstrating his ability to flex and move his prosthetic ankle and also rotate. At 1 year follow-up, the implant is well integrated into the bone. The level of the skin is shown with the red line.
Nope.
At his 1-year follow-up, he's demonstrating a walk up a hill in Central Park, functioning at a very high level, much better than he was able to do with his socket. He's very happy with the outcome. My experience so far has been 18 cases with 5 scheduled in the next 6 weeks. I've done 11 femurs, 5 tibias, 1 humerus, and 1 ulna to date as of September 21st, 2019. My longest follow-up now is 2 years. Overall, the clinical outcomes have been very positive. Patients have all been happy that they did the surgery. We are collecting data that will allow us to present this at scientific meetings and publish our results in the near future. While there have been some complications, they have been very manageable and have really not affected the overall outcomes. Here's an example of Antonio with a very short residual femur and a custom-made implant inserted. He had a lot of difficulty with socket wear because of the short, extremely short femur. Here's the implant in place, bone grown into the implant, and shown with the direct skeletal connection to the prosthesis. This is an example of a short ulna. This patient had his arm amputated in an elevator accident, and although he has a very short ulna, he has excellent control of his elbow. The osseointegrated implant is going to allow him to utilize his elbow. Here you can see extending the elbow and flexing the elbow. He's awaiting the myoelectric prosthesis. For the humerus amputations, osseointegration is expected to be very advantageous. It will eliminate the harness and allow patients to utilize their shoulder range of motion. Furthermore, we can add coapt and TMR for the use of a myoelectric prosthesis. Here's an example of my patient with the preoperative planning, using the CT scan to determine the size, the diameter and length of the implant. And this is the postoperative x-ray. We're still awaiting the myoelectric prosthesis. So in summary, I've had a very positive clinical experience with this. We have learned that tightening the soft tissues is an advantage. Sort of a big nip and tuck is typically desirable. I partner with a plastic surgeon. I have found that the one-stage surgery works well and allows us to do soft tissue contouring and doesn't appear to have any disadvantages. The skin and muscles scar down to the bone, and that is the optimal goal. For upper extremity, we have used targeted muscle innervation to improve muscle signals for a myoelectric arm, although in many cases there are good enough signals by coapt testing, and TMR is not necessary. We are also using TMR for phantom nerve pain in the lower extremity for pain management purpose. Thank you for your attention. I appreciate your taking the time to get this update on osseointegration surgery.